it shouldn't come as a surprise to us that we are all suffering the consequences of growing pains. And depending on where you are on the continuum, there's various levels of challenge, but also various levels of opportunity. A couple of the key things that we see in the marketplace right now, specifically as it relates to the brand side or our Fortune 500 brands and their view on programmatic, is a couple of things. The first is, agencies, the lamentations about agencies, dying and being dinosaurs is not only false, it's grossly exaggerated. In fact, I think most of the holding companies in this last go-around has reported record profits. But it's undeniable that we are going through a change, specifically when it comes to the media side, because clients are taking a much greater interest in trying to understand where and how this is working. I think for up until now, we've had a relatively easy ride in as much as it's a new environment. There's a tremendous amount of complexity. And if you ask any agency what should be done, the answer is simple: put more money through the trading desk. And it's not an unreasonable question, or at least an unreasonable statement to make, but many of our clients, just like you've highlighted on the supply side, have this challenge with disclosure and transparency. And so I think from a brand perspective, at very least, what clients want is, number one, to understand the fundamentals of how their agency is now making money, which is very different from the full-time equivalent model that most media and creative services have been traded in. The second thing is they want to have some level of transparency in terms of the technology partnerships. Where does the money go? Where do the costs go? And I think the last thing is essentially around understanding the fundamentals of who does what and determining where value lies. Most brands are quite happy to pay for services and technology, but it becomes very difficult when it's not substantiated. And so, we're going through those machinations right now, and certainly agencies and agency models are changing. But I think there's very positive and active conversations between brands and agencies in terms of what that changing role should be. And by no means is it a black and white, are we going to do stuff outside with the agencies, or are we bringing things in-house? Most organizations are not really in a position to be able to execute against that.
I got you.
So Pangaea, I can see how it's good for you guys, meaning the publishers. But talk a little bit about what you're hearing from your brand and agency partners. What is it that they want from you? What is their expectation? And what is the value that you think they're going to get out of this?
Sure. So firstly, I'll say it's very different in each market. So currently, 4 out of the 5 steering committee members are based in Europe, in the primary markets of Europe, which obviously means that a lot of the focus is there. Mm-hmm. And I'd certainly say that as far as the level of maturity in that market, we're seeing a lot more of an advanced ecosystem within the realms of not just private marketplaces, but these cooperatives starting to happen now as well. So I'd say a big focus for us is to certainly present the benefits as to that quality at scale, which is fairly well accepted, and we're getting a lot of good traction across the markets in Europe at the moment. So that's going fairly well for us at this point. I'd say the next step would certainly be, here in the US, to make sure we do portray the benefits. The scale of this market, and as a fellow South African, you can understand the first time you move to this place, it's like, wow, 6 hours between coasts. That's fairly ridiculous. But it is a different trading environment, and making sure that our partners out here are very much aware of that, and similarly in Asia, which I'd say is certainly lagging in some of the areas than what I've seen elsewhere. So I'd say that's the primary focus as far as keeping our partners educated and aware of some of the benefits. A key point as well is there's a lot of demand around, I touched on the data. Mm-hmm. We're getting a lot of demand around different audience segments, which we constantly having to evolve. So I'd say that'll continue to grow to make sure that we're fitting those requirements in market. The next area, which is something that is, I suppose, a good sign, but when we started this project, we realized very, very quickly the bandwidth that this thing was taking up. Sure. Between myself, our operations teams, and our programmatic sales teams, it's another load on them. And it's not like we're putting in a bunch of resource to support that. So we'd like to see, as it gets to the point that Pangaea is essentially washing its face, the potential to get that self-fulfilling operational and commercial side, obviously supporting it. As far as Reuters, I'd say it's not that much different, actually. It's still very important to us to look after our direct business, which I get the importance of programmatic, and we very much focused on that. But our key focus is around quality and making sure we support that on any facet.